Hey, what's up, guys? So, welcome to part two of my introduction and guide for all the new players. In the first part, I talked a lot about how all the characters, how all the items, and different gear sets work. And in this segment, I'm going to be talking about kind of the rest of the miscellaneous items, as well as everything on this main menu and all the different various game modes, and try to get through as much as I can. So for today's video, what I'm drinking is this Caribbean Way from Smoothie King. I'm a fan of strawberry and or banana smoothies, and this is no exception. It's really good. It's really refreshing. If you're any fan of strawberries and or banana smoothies, I recommend this. Otherwise, I would probably get usually like a protein peanut butter smoothie, something like that. But today I wanted to treat myself as I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving. So why not treat yourself? So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So last part we stopped at the items, mainly the weapons and the armor sets. And for this next section, I kind of want to just go over everything in your typical item menu. So I'll just go through all the different items and just share what I know about them. So the first thing we have here is gold. Don't really need to explain gold. Hopefully not rubies, but rubies is your main limited currency in this game. You can only get so many each day through doing your dailies and miscellaneous quest, and otherwise the most easiest way to get them is through spending money in the pack store. As for what's the best use of them, the best use would be using them for summoning characters on their specific banners. You may want to set some aside for the red premium scrolls in the consumable store right here. These are going to be your main source of upgrading your items refinement level. Alright, next is diamonds. That's kind of the other pay to win currency. You can use it to exchange for various things in the diamond store, such as 5-star summoning tickets or stamina. I don't really use this. This is just left over from a previous pack that I brought. But overall, I would recommend getting rubies as opposed to diamonds. Next up, we have the regular soul and the rare soul. So the regular soul is primarily used to upgrade your ideal stone, which I'll show you right here. So you can use regular souls as well as transcendence scrolls to upgrade this, which basically increases a lot of various stats for your entire team right here. Alright, so as for the rare souls, you typically would use this to either get costumes for your characters, or you can exchange them in the soul store for the green refinement scrolls. So that's kind of where you'll get the majority of your green additional refinement scrolls from. Next up we have your basic reinforcement scrolls. You can get that through farming the various shops in the pack store. Same with transcendence scrolls. You just get these through farming. So you'd use your gray refinement scrolls here to upgrade or refine something, and you can see that the options here start at magic, and then they go up to the next tier, which is unique, legendary, then finally epic. So using the gray scrolls, you can get them to unique, which is the red ones. See, like this right here. But in order to get it to the legendary or epic tier, you have to use what's known as this red refinement scroll for gear, and then the green one for weapons. So you can see here on the green ones, they have an additional option refinement. That's what you use the green ones for. So for the red ones, you mainly get them through the consumable store in exchange for rubies. And for the green scroll, you primarily get these through exchanging your rare souls for them. As for awakening cubes, these are used to level up your character's skills, as well as upgrading your awakening stone, which is, I'll show you right here. It's just another growth stone that improves stats for your entire team. I wouldn't recommend new or mid-level players to really upgrade this too much, as you can see it gets extremely expensive down here. So just 4.6 billion just for one level, and that's not really worth it for, or affordable for someone that's really new. Oh yeah, you can also get Awakening Keeps through farming or the Ice Dragon Dungeon. I wouldn't spend too much stamina on that, as you can just get these naturally through farming, so I wouldn't recommend that as the best use of your stamina. Like I said in the previous part, if you're low on these, maybe get your character skills to level 10 or 15 and then stop it there, and then you can always max them later when you get more cubes. PvP keys, these are keys you need for PvP. Every day you get 5 free ones, and you can buy additional in the store. I don't really see any benefit in buying a ton of these unless you're going up the ranks for the first time and fulfilling those achievements, which you'll get a lot of rubies from. Once you've beaten those achievements, then there's little reason or incentive to really stay high in the PvP rank. The cons outweighs the pros in that sense. Next we have item chest. You'll have your regular 3 to 5 star equipment boxes for equipment and accessories. And then these gold ones are just straight up 5 star. So you might see these from time to time in various stores, which you can exchange for those specific game mode coins. That's really up to you whether you want to get those or not. But for most 5-star gear, you'll just organically get them through farming or just doing raids, things like that. Just participating in different game modes, you'll slowly accrue them. So I don't really see any need in the long run to get these. Now, if you know what you're doing and you make a new account and you just want the quickest way to get 5-star gear, then sure. So these are obsidian keys. These are the keys you need to enter the Dark Dragon Dungeon. And you get the majority of them through just opening your raid chest. So I've just been lazy and haven't used mine, but understand that every day you get 2 free entries. After that, you would have to use obsidian keys or spend rubies, which I wouldn't recommend either. So once you have a bunch of keys, feel free to just put it on auto, and that's a good place to get a lot of the blue refinement scrolls. And it also drops various, items like 5-star gear potentially. Next up is experience potions. Don't really need to explain this. You get these through farming, lots of other stores that you can exchange for with coins. The main purpose of this is to really rebirth your characters. So I would recommend any chance you can get these, get them, especially new players. And another big source of them besides farming is from getting 4-leaf clovers. I don't have any on me right now, but clovers, when you open them, they essentially give you a ton of XP pots. So every chance you can get clovers, I'd recommend that. Guild coins, these are coins you get from participating in raid and in guild territory. And you can essentially, actually no, you don't get them from guild territory, but you get them from doing your guild runs. Those 3 daily guild runs, you get a little bit from that. And these can be exchanged for various things in the guild shop that I'll cover later in this video. Reinforcement scrolls, we know what those are. And then you just have various coins for all the different game modes. So these dragon coins are obtained through raid. As you begin to do more damage, you'll start getting these rare dragon coins. And you can exchange those for various gear, scrolls, or even gold in the raid shop. Slasher coins, you get them from slasher mode. Demon coins, you get them from demon tower, not to be confused with Dark Lord's tower. These are again reinforcement scrolls that you get mainly from improving your raid score. So that's why I emphasize my tier list based off of raids, because that's where you'll get the majority of your resources later on. Istria coins are coins you get from your guild territory activities, like things like attacking guild territories, donating. Those all give you these coins, which can be used to further level up your guild's clan castle and things like that. Birth coins. These are the current event dungeon coins that you'll get. Same with the Eris. This is for the Konosuba collaboration. So if you're watching this later, after the collab's over, then you probably won't really be seeing these at all. Next up are the emeralds. These are currencies you get from participating in the abyss mode, and they can be exchanged for lots of really good things like this affection potion right here. What this essentially does is, as you read the description, it increases attack, defense, health, accuracy, crit rate, and crit resist by 1, and each character's limit is a maximum of 500. You can get these using the emeralds. See if I can show you the emerald store real quick. I mean the abyss store. But as you can see here, you can get a variety of useful things such as the abyss armor set, gold bar, and affection potions. PvP coins, those are the coins you get from winning PvP. You can use those to get, regular XP pots, stamina, or even a gold bar every now and then. And then your stamina, this represents, the stamina you get. And the best use of your stamina would honestly just be farming adventure or dimensional labyrinth. The difference between those two is that dimensional labyrinth gives slightly less gold, but more of pretty much everything else. It also has the chance of dropping the more rare swords, late game high tier swords. So if you're able to farm that really quickly or just as efficiently, then I recommend most players to farm Dimensional Labyrinth. Alright, now I'll talk about, the main HUD and kind of what everything is. So let's start with the quest circle here. So this screen shows your current rank. This doesn't really hold much significance. It just shows, how long you've been playing pretty much. And these are your daily missions. I don't really pay attention to them. I think just from playing the game a little bit, you just naturally kind of complete all these. Achievements, I've stopped caring about this a long time ago. Pretty much as you play the game, it'll just kind of complete for you. But if you want to complete something specifically, then you can kind of refer to the quest here. Then growth, if you purchase the growth pack, then you're eligible to get these rubies from these various quests that just from leveling up. So for example, if I get level 480, 490, 500, I'll get all these rubies. Now I'm probably not going to hit that for a long time, but when you're starting out, these are all much lower level, like 100, 200, much quicker to get. Okay, next up is the Organize tab. So this screen shows your current team. You might see a lot of tabs here, or you might have fewer tabs than I do. You can purchase more tabs by buying one of the packs in the pack store. I forgot which one, but essentially it unlocks a few more tabs for you, which is convenient, but not necessary. So this shows your team going from left to right. Of course, Kane is fixed, and the reason why my Kane here is a female is because that's a skin. You have your PvP tab here, so that's primarily for PvP, and this is the PvP team I use and find the most success with. So if you want to have success too, try this team out and see if it works for you. Next up is the Roulette tab. So each day you get 5 free spins. You might have to watch an ad if you're free to play, but once you've made a purchase, then I believe that gets rid of the ads for you. You can get various things like stamina, maybe a gold bar, and a little bit of transcendence scrolls. And for the most part, I get like stamina, and sometimes I'll get a brilliant scroll every now and then. This doesn't really give you that much crazy stuff, but it is free, so can't complain there. Next up, let's talk about the summoning tab and how summoning in this game works. So this game's pretty simple. It has a standard non-specific character banner like what you see right here. I would not recommend summoning ever for this screen because you can get a bunch of random stuff and you could just get a bunch of garbage. The best use of your rubies would be to actually go to the character specific banner in the bottom right corner here. So what makes this special is if you do get a 5-star, then like 90% of the time it's going to be whoever the character's banner is. So in this case, Zeus. If I hit the chance to get a 5-star, like 90% of the time, or pretty much it's going to hit Zeus for the most part. You might get another character if you have bad luck. But for the most part, you'll get the specific character banner. So the strategy is to wait until a day where you see a character that you want, and then just use your rubies and summon on that. With every summon fills up your pickup guarantee gauge. Once it hits 120 out of 120, then the very next summon is a guarantee summon of whoever the banner is. So if pretend that my pickup gauge was 120 out of 120, and I just do a regular summon here, then the next one will be a guaranteed Zeus. Now, if I wait until the next day and it's someone else, it will still be 120 to 120. It'll carry over, so don't worry about that. So you might just wait till you have a pickup of 120 to 120, and then wait for a character that you personally want, and then summon on them, and it's a guaranteed summon 100% of the time. But without the pickup, then there's always a chance you might hit someone that's not the banner. But for the most part, yeah, that's how I recommend kind of going about summoning. Here you can, if you have 4 or 5-star summon tickets, this is where you go to kind of use them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And if you click down here, it shows your summon chance of everything. Now, whether or not these are accurate or actually true, who knows? But some days you might get 3 in 1 pull, and some days you might have to use 3 pulls just to get nothing. So it's just the luck of the draw. All right, next I'll talk about the store, and this is there's a lot of questions that revolve around this, so let's just take our time here. So purchase rubies. This is where you can purchase rubies for straight up money. I wouldn't really recommend this, as it's just not an efficient use of your cash. What I prefer you to do instead is go to the pack store, and you can see all these various different packs, and it may vary depending on when you watch this video. But usually they'll have packs that give you not only rubies, but also things like gold bars, summoning tickets, souls. A lot of them will often have pickup gauge buffs. So this one says 120. When you purchase it, it'll increase your pickup gauge by 120. What happens if you buy multiple of these and you have what happens to your pickup gauge then? If I buy 10, then I'll have 10 times 120. And then when I try to summon the next time, then I'm just gonna get multiple 5-star guarantees in a row until your pickup meter has been less than 120. So if you were to whale and just buy 10 out of 10 packs of this, and then you did an 11 pull on a specific character banner, then odds are you're just gonna get 10, 11 of that specific character. All right, so kind of going back to the pack store, let's talk about what I recommend. So a lot of these packs might not be here, but by the time you watch this, a lot of these are based on events. So kind of just look at each one and make your own decision as to whether you think it's worth it or not. The ones that I think are worth it are usually ones that give resources that are pretty hard to farm. Things like souls are pretty hard to farm, whereas something like awakening cubes and clovers are pretty easy to get in the game, so that's not worth it. Something like this package right here, you have a lot of souls and rare souls, which you normally get from selling 3 or 4-star character shards, but because that comes from spending rubies on summoning, then that makes this hard to really gather up. So I recommend packs like these where you would have souls or things that you wouldn't normally get. Another nice thing is you'll often have character passes such as this. It's kind of like the battle pass in many other games, where you do quests and you'll level up, and with each level up you'll gain some rewards. Now if you purchase this, you'll actually get all the top row of rewards that you're able to unlock. So some of these have guaranteed characters at the end. Some of them have weapons provided. So for someone who doesn't want to spend too much, these are only $25 USD usually, so it's not that bad. It's a guaranteed 5-star, and you get a little bit of other free knickknacks along the way. So those are what I recommend. Costume passes, same ordeal. This one gives you 25 rare souls. You can use that for any costume. And it gives you a free character as well. Well, not free unless you have to buy the pass. But if you're just free to play, then you'll able to unlock everything on the bottom row. Okay, refinement packs, I wouldn't recommend these anymore because they're generally easy to get. With the red scrolls, you would use 900 rubies to get them from the consumable store. And the green refinement scrolls, you get them from exchanging rare souls. And another thing of how to get rare souls pretty easily is selling your cane shards that you get from raid after you've maxed them out. We won't talk about those. This is the growth pack I was referring to before. What you do is you purchase this, and then as you level up and attain those achievements, you'll get a lot of rubies from those. Limited packs. So this pack, the master pack, won't actually show up unless you purchase 2 other packs before this. It's probably like a beginner pack that increases your permanent XP or gold boost. And the second one's kind of a similar thing, and they get incrementally more expensive with each one. And this is the third one, the master pack. So after buying this, you'll actually gain a 5th raid attempt every single day permanently. So that's how a lot of people can have really high scores, is having that 5th raid attempt. Welcome packs, pretty good. And strategy pack, this was how I was able to have more tabs in my organized tab and more preset options. So that's pretty worth it too. So yes, that's all that I recommend for now. Or any of these pickup packs would be pretty good. That way, at least even if you don't get any good luck with your summoning, you at least have the pickup gauge to really guarantee you at least a 5-star. Okay. Next is consumable store. What would I recommend here? Or what would I prioritize? I'd definitely get your, if you need stamina and you have an excess of rubies, I recommend getting only 6, because you're buying 720 stamina with 180 rubies, which is a pretty good exchange. And the more you buy, the kind of more expensive it starts getting. So that's why I'd recommend going with 6. Here you have your PvP keys. You can buy them as much as you want, up to 30, and they get progressively more expensive, so I wouldn't really recommend this. And then the only other thing that I would really buy in here, one is these premium refinement scrolls. You need these to refine your 5-star gear to epic refinement. So set aside some rubies to be able to purchase multiple of these. And then the only other thing, you have some foods here that grant kind of daily buffs. The only one I mainly use is all characters attack 10% down here, because it's pretty cheap, and you just want to maximize your raid score perhaps, then this is a good buff to have. Alright, soul store. Like I said before, you're free to get these if you want, but they're not the best use of your souls. The purple ones in the later game you'll use to upgrade your ideal stone, and for this you'll use the majority of your rare souls for either costumes or these green scrolls. Diamond store, like I said before, there's not really much to offer here, and if you're going to spend money, you should spend the money on those special packages and not diamonds. So I won't really talk about that anymore. You know, if you're going to get something, maybe get the 5-star summoning ticket or stamina. Okay, raid shop. So raid shop, 6 out of 7 days you're going to see cane shards, and then maybe one day each week where you'll see Gaia shards, so keep that in mind. So I always make sure to grab those. Make sure to grab your stamina, and make sure to grab your ultimate EXP potions. If you're just starting out, then this is an easy way to, you know, get one of each of these armor pieces for the Achilles set. Wouldn't recommend this. It's expensive, and you don't have a good chance of really getting anything good with just 10 boxes. And yeah, the only other thing I would get besides the Achilles armor, Dragon Blade, and the top 3 or top 4 would probably be the gold bar, and keep in mind you can only get 2 monthly. I doubt most players will be able to get that much coins starting out, but keep in mind that those reset monthly. Some of these reset don't have a reset date or limit. Okay, birth coin shop. Now this is going to be very similar to many event shops later down the road, and what I would prioritize here. You can kind of see where I'm going for here. So I'll go for 4-leaf clovers because those are what will give you a lot of XP pots. You'll go for gold bar because you'll need gold for everything. 5-star summoning tickets is great for new players or even late game players, and rare souls if you are able to get that. This is just good for costumes if you want any costumes, or just for additional green refinement scrolls if you need those. As for the Holy Sword Estia, this is the most expensive, and because of that, it's not what I'd strongly recommend, only if like you have nothing else to use them on. These lucky bags, that's kind of, you know, your decision. They have like a 10% chance to give a 5-star summoning ticket and gold bar, and for the most part they'll give you something like a little bit of rubies or equipment chest. So it's kind of a gamble. I usually say that for the end. These refinement scrolls, I would never get them through these event shops. It's just not a good exchange in resources. What I prefer to get with these event coins is something like XP pots, because that's what you're going to use to rebirth all your 5-star characters. And yeah, that's typically what I go for. And the order doesn't matter too much, just depends on what you want. I think the 4-leaf clovers are the easiest to get and the most cheapest. And then after that, either go for the 5-star summoning ticket or the souls and gold bar, up to you. Next is the guild store. You get these from your guild coins from doing your daily raid and guild runs. I kind of just save them up for the gold bar. You're free to use them on the rest of these if you want, but you get plenty of these scrolls from farming and other stores, as well as the reinforcement scrolls. As for the 5-star weapon box, it's not really worth 100,000 in my opinion, because you can get a lot of the 5-star weapons in other shops or through farming for free. And the rest of these are also optional. Always get your daily attack buffs and crit rate buffs if you need that, as well as your daily red potions, XP potions. And then monthly, you'll be able to get 1 gold bar and then 25 4-leaf clovers. So make sure each month you max those out too. So slasher store. This is pretty self-explanatory. The only real things you'll get here are slasher equipment or a gold bar. For slasher equipment, slashers are a really good set. I would recommend starting out with maybe the chest and helmet first, and then getting the rest after. Then once those are maxed out or max transcended, you can kind of save the rest for your gold bar. Now demon store. This is obtain getting the coins through Demon Tower. What I would recommend is definitely, if you don't have the demon equipments already, get those. And then each month you can get a lot of refinement scrolls like these down here. You can also get a lot of red potions and a gold bar, which is pretty easy to get once you start beating, all the floors. Then you'll start getting nearly, I want to say like 800 to 900,000 or a million, I forgot. But you'll get a decent number of coins each week, and that has no limit. But I usually, as someone who can beat all 12 floors of Demon Tower, I'm typically able to get a gold bar every other week, and that's while maxing out on the EXP pots and the blue scrolls. Next up is the gold bar store. Here you can, if you have gold bars, you can exchange them for gold, or if you have gold coins, you can exchange them for gold bar. Pretty self-explanatory. Next is territory store. The only things I really get here are the stamina and then the reset evidence count each week. The rest you can easily get through raids and farming, so I never use coins on those. Abyss shop, you can get these emeralds through participating in beating floors in Abyss. For new players, I recommend maxing the affection potions every week. They reset every week. And then make sure you also get one of each of the Abyss armor pieces. Then once those are maxed, you can use the remaining ones to get a gold bar each month that resets once each month. And then you can also use emeralds to improve your birthstone. And this is another growth stone that improves your team stats, and especially Kane's. But I wouldn't recommend this until you've gotten, all the Abyss items, that gold bar, and then your affection potions. And then lastly, PvP, second to last, PvP store. So as someone who doesn't PvP that much, I'm not going to have enough to get a bunch of gold bars, but you might want to get something like the EXP pots perhaps, or secondary is these blue refinement scrolls if you really need them that much. Then lastly, the collab store. This is just another similar event store, similar to the birth coin shop. So you'll see various things here, similar kind of rewards. You can kind of see a pattern of what I'm getting. So I want to get the clovers first, followed by a 5-star summoning ticket and a gold bar. And whatever extras I might have, then I'll use those for either more red potions if I was new, or as a last resort, if I really needed one of these weapons, then I'll save through 30,000 and get one of them. And during these events, you can usually get some from the event dungeon, and as well as farming too. So don't forget to use all your stamina, especially during these event runs. Alright, next I kind of want to talk about some more things on the main HUD, and then I'll kind of talk about some miscellaneous settings and how adventure mode works. So up here you just have various buttons for mail, the official Discord, world chat, which I never use, and it's just full of random shit that, trolls or a mixture of various languages that you won't understand. If you want to really have a chat, I would recommend joining our Discord. I'll put the link to the Discord in the description below. And this icon is to access your bag conveniently. And then this is kind of like the main options menu. Here you can do all sorts of things like adjusting your game's volume, putting in coupon codes, accessing your growth stones, your collection bonus, your player info, as well as some of the more basic things like resetting your account, changing the background of your HUD, and then maybe some FAQs, but I wouldn't really go there. But what I want to talk about here was these 4 boxes. So there's a couple key settings right here that I'd recommend, or at least want you to know about. The first thing is next stage automatically after 5 seconds in adventure mode. So by checking this, what this essentially does is once you defeat a stage in adventure mode, then it'll automatically repeat or move to the next stage after 5 seconds. So you don't have to manually hit next every single time. Another one is use active skill only in boss fight during adventure mode. So by clicking this icon, when I set my team's skills to auto, they won't use their skills until they reach the boss. This is very useful if you're running something like an all warrior team with Theseus, and you don't want to take all that time using your skills in the beginning if they just cut through the mobs effortlessly. So that's what I would use, especially with full warrior teams. Now, if you wanted to use a skill from the start, then that's when I would uncheck this. So with that in mind, I'll kind of go through some examples to kind of help you kind of visualize those settings. So let's just go to adventure. Let's do 69. Okay. So in this right here, you can choose to repeat the hunt. So repeat the same stage. So if you're farming, I would have that selected and just hit start. So normally you see I have all the characters on auto, and then instead of using it at the beginning of the battle, they won't use it till they reach the boss. In this case, I killed the boss too quickly, but just pretend that they would have used their skills there. Sorry, this is a terrible example. Let me find a better example for you guys. Alright, let's just do something a bit easier, like 1060. And don't worry about what Athena says here. Here she's thinking I can't handle it. That's never an accurate depiction of how strong or how suitable the stage is. So it pretty much just looks at your combat power, and that, as we've talked about before, combat power is heavily inflated by HP and defense, so it's not a good measure of how strong you really are. So with that setting checked, my characters don't use their skills here. Instead, they'll save it for the boss. So very useful if you don't want to preemptively use all your skills. Alright, so let's see what it looks like when I turn that off. So now with it turned off, my characters here will use their skills immediately, going from right to left. And that's another thing, is that character placement matters somewhat, because they will use their skills to the best of their ability, going from the right to the left. It doesn't all perfectly happen that way, but for the most part, it generally follows that. And here's another thing about setting things on auto. If you wanted to set a specific character to either be on auto or non-auto, you simply go to their character icon here, then you swipe down or up. You swipe down to leave it on auto, and if you don't want them, then you can swipe it up. So by doing this, you can set multiple different characters or specific ones to automatically use their skill, and then you can kind of manually use the other characters' autos. And then you can see here, I have that first settings checked, so it's resetting and automatically repeating the same level each time, or it's moving on to the next stage. But as far as hitting the little box we did prior to starting this, we repeated the stage. So that's how you'd repeat the same stage over and over for farming. Alright, I have a little bit of time left. I'm gonna have to probably split this video into a third and fourth part to kind of go over the rest of the game modes, but I should have enough time now to kind of talk about guild and guild territory at least. So after you're hitting a certain level, you're eligible to join a guild. Don't really need to explain what a guild is, but it's basically kind of like a clan, a party of members. And there's lots of benefits in joining one. There's not really any benefits of not being in one, so I recommend you join one as soon as you can, and an active one, if that. So this is your main guild screen right here. You can attend, hit the attend button, which basically logs, kind of checks your attendance for the day, and you'll get a little bit of stamina from that. You can also do a guild donation each day, and you can contribute either coins or rubies to earn your guild contribution points, which can be used to upgrade various skills that'll help your guild and guild territory. So by leveling up these skills using those currencies from the donations, you can increase your guild skill effects here, and only if it's active for your guild territory, which is attained in this content screen. So on the left, this is your 3 daily guild runs that you can do to get guild coins. Pretty easy, but the main gist of guild is the guild territory. And what the guild territory is essentially is it's 25 different levels where each level has a specific amount of HP left, and the goal is for you and your team members to take as much health as possible and basically get it to 0. So once you've completed that for every level, you will unlock the Ancient Dragon, which is essentially a boss in which has the potential to drop the Ancient Armor set. Or I mean the Guardian Armor set, my mistake. As so showing this screen, this is the Organized tab, similar to the other Organized tab. So nothing special there. Territory ranking. This shows you just how all the different guilds are compared right now. Ours is rank 1 currently. So go Infinity. Shout outs to us. Next is tax collection. So each day you'll have one opportunity to hit this, and you basically get some gold out of it. And the more territories you've cleared, and the higher your popularity is, which is this number right here, the more guild coins you'll get. So popularity, how do you increase it? What is it? Basically, the more popularity you have, then the more gold you'll get from this tax collection, and the lower it is, the less. You can increase or decrease this depending on the governance actions right here. So I've already done mine for the day, but each day you may get 4 or 5 actions, and basically it's a series of interactions, and if you pick the wrong one or the negative answer, your popularity might go down, but you might get some rewards. If you pick the good options, some interactions give you gold and popularity, and some just give you various different items like awakening cubes, clovers, rare souls, if you're lucky, gold bar, and refinement scrolls. So an easy way to increase your popularity, if you're bad luck with that, is going to your guild castle right here and patrolling. So in exchange for 100 territory coins, you can basically increase your popularity by 1 to 2. Do that a few times and you'll reach 100 pretty easily. And with that, you can also spend a lot of coins to invest, which gives you experience for your main castle. And the more that you level this up, the more benefits your guild would get from guild territory. So each territory has a different boss with different immunities when they're the same every week. So typically, some guilds choose to assign their members to specific territories. Another guild strategy may just be attack whatever you want. And that just kind of works depending on, your team and how you communicate. I think for the most part, a lot of guilds just kind of attack whatever they're most comfortable with, so I would recommend just doing that. Attack earlier on what typically results in a faster clear. The faster your guild clears all the territories, the higher ranks you're going to be in comparison to the rest of the guilds in the same difficulty. So our territory difficulty right now is HH, and with each increase in difficulty, the mobs and the bosses all gain more health, defense, damage, and critical rate. So as you go higher in guild territory, the main stats that really improve is your crit resistance. Now, if you want to know how much crit resist you're going to need, then you can find that in our unofficial Discord. Okay, and then this is the application page for new members. You can view who has applied here and either reject them or accept them. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. And as each guild has a guild leader and a vice leader, so to speak. So we have the ability to either, banish someone, or the guild leader has the ability to appoint someone to be kind of like a vice leader. Some questions people may have are, what happens if my guild leaders maybe quit or just inactive? So if they're inactive if they haven't logged on for X number of days, then eventually their leadership gets kind of bumped onto the next person who's been there the longest, I think. You might have to fact check me on that, but I believe that's what happens. So you can either wait until the leadership gets kicked onto the next person, or just quit that guild and join a new one. Or if you get strong enough, try applying for our guild, and hopefully we'll have some more spots in the future. Okay, next up is PvP. So I'll talk about PvP and probably Abyss, and then that might be it for this part of the video. So PvP, you can use your PvP keys, in which you'll get 5 each day for free. And I'll just do one run, for example. So you don't use skills, your characters just auto attack each other. So it's pretty boring. Yeah. So you'll do that. With each entry costs 1 key. And the more that you rank up, the more kind of achievements you may get and benefits you may get. So let me see here. So this screen shows you all the different benefits of attaining certain ranks. Really, it's not that much relative to how much you had to spend on getting enough PvP keys to actually beat that many people. And here, keep in mind that each month the PvP system resets, and you also go down to the previous tier. So let's say you're at 50,000 points, and then come month end you will go down to 40,000. So if you're at 49,000 and the month resets, you get bumped down to 30,000. So if you're on the border, I'd recommend just doing a few more matches until you've passed that threshold. That way you save yourself a whole tier or 10,000 points of having to do that. Yeah, these people, they've most likely reached either 60,000 and got reset to 50,000, or they were at 50,000, got reset to 40,000, and used all their PvP keys to now hit back to 50,000. The best characters to use for this are characters with blocks. I'll do another battle just so you can see. So I think blocks just outright beat everything. Even if the other team has a bunch of damage, it means nothing if you have blocks. I'm losing right now because my characters are unequipped. I'm pretty sure it does have an impact if you equip them. So if you equip them, I'll show you here. It's best to equip them with weapons or rings that give you monster penetration. just because it makes that hit multiple people, and that'll basically deplete multiple blocks with each hit. So that's the quickest way to deplete enemies' blocks. So these characters all have blocks for themselves or provided for the team, one shape or another. Kana has blocks for herself, so does Mary. Gaia provides blocks to all the archers, so Kana and Mary here. And Joan of Arc gives blocks to everyone on the team. Other characters that give blocks, I believe, are Ares. And yeah, that should be it. I might be forgetting someone, but that's really the main ones I'd recommend. Okay, in Abyss mode. Now I can't really show much of Abyss mode because I've already completed it this week. But what Abyss mode is pretty much 50 floors of increasing difficulty. And with each floor, you can pick one of 3 of these cards that typically provide various random buffs, or such as attack, crit damage, penetration. Some cards may give you straight up gold, or special abyss chest, or clovers especially. So that's another important area to really get all your XP pots from, is from getting clovers through abyss mode. And some tips I have for people just starting out. There's 2 difficulties that you can choose from: expert and novice. You're obviously going to play novice, and so what the cards that you should be picking starting out is always go for the accuracy cards, as you may kind of see that you are missing a lot as you get into the higher floors. So if you see a chance, an opportunity to get accuracy, get that. Other cards I'd recommend would be penetration above all else, as well as any offensive buffs like attack percent. Cards out of void. There's lots of varying cards out of void, but some of those defensive ones aren't as crucial. Crit rate ones maybe not as crucial. So it really just depends on what you need. But I prioritize for majority of players to go for accuracy and penetration. And whenever you do see a resource card that just gives like 200 million gold, or might just give you clovers, then definitely go for those. So this button down here in the corner shows you all the current buffs that you've selected. So you can see this are all the cards that I selected, and they're of varying different tiers, with the dark pink one being the highest. So if you check the unofficial Discord, there's definitely more information there about cards and what's good, what's bad. So I'd refer to that. And this shows the ranking. Pretty much like, this isn't really that significant getting highly ranked on here, but the higher ranked you get, then the more emeralds you'll get. So that's one incentive. But you can see everyone who beats it's really close by a few single digits. So, once everyone's able to beat 50 floors on expert, that's all you really need to do. And then with each floor, there's randomized immunities. So if you run into a scenario where, let's say you have penetration abyss, or maybe physical and magical immunity, and you just can't beat the boss no matter what, then I'd recommend resetting your immunity. It will cost a little bit of gold, but if it means you might get something that allows you to beat the boss, then that's pretty worth it. And then, like I said before, the Abyss store, you can use your emeralds you obtain from each floor to exchange for potions and armor sets. And that's pretty much what Abyss is. If you want to see some more gameplay of it, you can probably refer to some of my older Abyss videos on my channel. But if you have any questions relating to that, just let me know in the comments below. Alright, anyways, I think that should be good enough for part 2. So just to summarize, in this video, we've talked about all the different items, what most of these different circles on this main HUD do, We've talked about, you know, how summoning works, how adventure mode works, and the little tinker settings that you can kind of mess with, as well as we talked about guilds, how guilds work and guild territory, and the significance of guild territory. We've talked about the store and what recommended items I would get from every single store. And then we talked about PvP, and lastly, Abyss mode. So that should cover that for this video, and for my future video, I'll be going over the remaining of the game modes, Dimensional Labyrinth, all the different resource dungeons, Infinite Slasher mode, all the event dungeons, Demon Tower, Dark Lord's Tower, Raid, and then followed by talking about the different growth stones and some miscellaneous additional tips that I might have up my sleeve. So I hope this video kind of helped you guys out. If you have any questions about anything at all, let me know in the comments below, and I'll definitely get to them. If you haven't joined our unofficial Discord already, then I strongly recommend you do that. We have an amazing community of, you know, veteran players as well as new players, and there's just a plethora of data there that pretty much has everything that I've talked about. You just have to kind of skim through it, maybe spend some time reading it, but other than that, you know, if you haven't, I'd say give it a join. Again, I'll put the link in the description below, and thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.